Good morning. Good morning. I hope that you're enjoying your day so far. And I just wanted to share something with you real quickly that the Lord has been speaking to me about over the last 2 days or so. And that's about the power of fasting. Fasting is a powerful, powerful weapon that the Lord has given us to fight in this spiritual battle that we're in. And unfortunately, a lot of people never ever use this powerful tool that we have. And there may be times in our lives when we need to hear from God because we need an answer or we need some direction from God. There may be times where we need for God to do a certain thing in our lives, and we're praying and we're fasting and we're doing all the things that not fasting, but we're praying and we're giving and we're doing all the things that we need to do, but it just doesn't seem to be breaking through. We just don't seem to be receiving the answers and the manifestations that we need to see. There are other times in our lives where we feel like spiritually we're just not where we know that we should be. Sometimes our flesh might get out of hand and we might get a little bit, instead of walking in the spirit, we start to walk in the flesh. That can be manifest in our lives through our eating habits. If we find ourselves, just eating all kind of stuff without any self-control. It can be through our spending habits, where we have no discipline in our spending habits. It could be sleeping. It could be using social media or TV. All those things, when you start to do those things more than usual or in an unhealthy amount, all of those things are indications that your flesh is starting to kind of overrun its banks. I read that in a book one time that, that sometimes our flesh will begin to overrun its banks, and it's fasting that brings our flesh back into where it's supposed to be. And I believe that is the main reason why fasting is so difficult for a lot of people to do, is because it actually makes you bring your flesh under subjection. And sadly, a lot of the body of Christ, we are living by the flesh. Whatever our flesh wants to do is what we do. When our flesh wants to sleep instead of pray, we sleep instead of pray. When our flesh wants to, eat the wrong thing, it's like we haven't trained ourselves in how to say no to our flesh. And it shows in our lifestyle, because there are things that, it's kind of like Paul said in Romans chapter 7, when he said that, the things that I want to do, I can't do. And the things that I don't want to do, those are the things that I find myself doing. What is that? That means that our flesh, when we find ourselves not being able to do the things that we know are right, or not being able to not do the things that we know are wrong, or things, obsessively in an unhealthy manner, an unhealthy amount, that's when we know that we need to take some time and we need to fast. And so I recently found myself in a situation where, the Lord had led me to fast. Now, did I want to fast? No. Why? Because I know that fasting is difficult on the flesh. But I did it. And to be honest, I didn't do it, to the best of my ability. I allowed myself, even though I wasn't eating, I allowed myself to get distracted by some things. But you know what? God still honored, the fast, and he still honored me for that day, telling my flesh no. And so what happened was the next morning when I woke up, my prayer, it flowed. I mean, I felt a marked difference in my prayer that morning after that one day fast. I felt a huge difference in how it had been leading up to that. And that just showed me that there is power in fasting. Just the mere fact that I set aside the time, and made an effort to tell my flesh no, and it was only for one day. to tell my flesh no. God honored that, and I saw the difference. And so if you want to see God begin to move in your spiritual life and in your life, I am going to challenge you to fast. And there are a lot of people who have been Christians for years and years and years and have never ever fasted. And so if that's you, if you've never fasted, or if it's been a long time since you fasted, I want to challenge you to go ahead, set aside some time. It could be a part of a day, an entire day, a few days, to fast. Now, there are several different types of fast that you can do. There are fasts that you can do, and when I say fast, I'm talking about food. Okay, I know a lot of times people say, well, you can fast from other things, and technically you can fast from other things. But I think one of the most powerful and most effective ways to fast is to abstain from food, either for a part of a day, say for one meal or 2 meals, or for an entire day, or for a few days, or for several days. Another type of fast that you can do is a liquid fast, where you only consume liquids, and which liquids, that can be up to you, but you don't have any solid food for this time. You only have liquids. And then another fast is what we call a Daniel fast, which is a fast where you only have water, fruits, and vegetables. Okay, and that can be found in Daniel chapter 1, and there's another one in Daniel chapter 10. So there's 2 where Daniel goes on these partial fasts, where he didn't eliminate all food, but he eliminated some foods, some of the pleasurable foods that our soul really likes and enjoys. And so I want to encourage you to do that. And during this time of fasting, it's not just a time where you abstain from eating, but it's also a time when you press into the things of God. So you have to shut out other things that distract you, and other things that take your focus away from the things of God. So where you used to be, on Facebook during your fast, instead of being on Facebook, you're gonna go on YouVersion, okay, and look up some scriptures, or read some the Bible. So it's a time of concentrated Bible study, a time of concentrated prayer. So instead of going home and turning on the TV, you're going to go home and you're going to go into your prayer closet, and you're going to spend that time in prayer. There are some times, where I have fasted from dinner because, all throughout the day I'm at work, and it's hard to really focus on prayer or Bible reading. And so what I would do sometimes is I would fast from dinner. And so instead of, when I get home, instead of doing what I normally do, cook dinner, whatever my little routine is when I get home, instead of doing that, as soon as I get home, I just go into my prayer time, go into time of reading, the Bible, studying the Bible, meditating on the Bible, and use those hours that I would have used on my daily, evening routine, and use that time for prayer and fasting. So what fasting does is it eliminates distractions that keep us from hearing the voice of God, and eliminate the distractions that keep us from really being focused on the things of God. And so I want to challenge you, and there is something supernatural about that. I went and I looked up some scriptures about fasting in the Bible, and there were so many scriptures about fasting in the Bible, which tells us that it is supposed to be a regular daily part of our Christian walk. It's a spiritual discipline. And unfortunately, like I said earlier, many people in the body of Christ have not really tapped into this discipline. And I'm going to tell you that if you never tap into the discipline of fasting, and you never begin to fast on a regular basis, then you'll never see the power of God move in your life. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you will always live a natural, normal, average life with no manifestations of the power of God in your life, like we saw, in in the early church. Why? It's because they devoted themselves to fasting. And so I just want to encourage you today that if you haven't fasted ever, or if it's been a long time since you fasted, I want to encourage you to set aside some time. Pick a fast that it's going to stretch you and it's going to challenge you, but one that you'll be able to actually stick to, and see what God does in your life and in your situation. So that's it for now. Prayerfully, you'll do that, and I'm sure that God will honor that fast, and you'll see His power working in your life. All right, see you next time.